Hey, what is going on everyone? Vega here for SerpentX Tech, and we are looking at the S19K Pro once again. A lot of content about this particular device, and today I want to talk you through upgrading the control board on this particular model. Now, if you paid attention to the channel or you're a frequent viewer or subscriber, you know that I had some issues trying to modify the control board that's in here, the AM Logic control board, with a Brains OS or Lux OS firmware. And that was my own fault, no one else's fault, but was an interesting problem to run into. However, I always plan to upgrade the control board to a third party, and that third party is the ASIC UMC. This is a universal mining control board by the Epic team or Epic Blockchain. Really good team, really good guys, know what they're doing, and there is no dev fee for this control board. So that's one thing that we can mitigate. Obviously there's still going to be pool fees and maybe some other fees like transaction fees, but at least we can remove the dev fee, whereas with Lux OS, Brains OS, and a bunch of others, we would have to pay either 1.8 to 2.5% dev fee just for running their firmware. This is going to give us a little bit more control and the ability to make it run a little bit more efficiently. A couple things that we need to do to make this happen, and a huge thank you to Alter Tech who helped make this possible, as well as Unmineable and the latest miner.web.app, where you can see what the latest miner versions are for your various programs like LOL Miner, T-Rex Miner, so on and so forth. So how do we get into this area right here, which is where the control board is? Additionally, you can see the faceplate on here only has a micro USB connection. That's not going to work because the ASIC UMC has micro SD, so that front plate is just not going to cut it. Well, there is a secondary plate sold by Alter Tech that you can go and grab, and that will allow us to swap out that plate. To access this particular area, all we got to do is come around to the back. This middle screw, not the two side ones, this middle screw needs to be taken off, and then you see that little silver button right there. All we got to do is push on it and lift up. Then pull back slightly, don't just pull straight up like that. Pull back slightly and then angle up, and now we got the metal plate off, and we have access to our control board, where we can see the 6-pin connector providing power. We can see the 2 or 3 fan headers, actually 4. These are 2 4-pins right here, and then 2 PWM 4-pins. So a little bit different. The front fans are 7,000 RPM, the back fans are 6,000 RPM, so that might be why they have 2 different type of connections there. And then our ribbon cables going to each hash board, and then the hash boards themselves are powered by a power bar, or a bus bar is what they call it. Unlike the older model S19 or S9 ASICs, where you had to run your power from your power supply via 6-pin to each board, this is just brought to you by the power supply via that bus bar. The stock power supply should be able to go up to, I think it's 5,000 watts. I wouldn't take that power supply up to that level though. I would say stop around 4,400, 4,500, somewhere in there. But now it's just a matter of swapping out this control board, and it looks like in order to do it, so I decided to be smart, and rather than go through the rear side, which would have been a lot of work, I just took off the faceplate. There's 2 screws on either side. Be careful though, these screws are soft, the heads are, so if your Phillips head doesn't fit in there nice and snug, get a smaller flat head, because once you start to strip those screws, you're going to be SOL. But just barely lift this thing up, and now I can slide the control board out the front and pop in the new one, which we're going to do right now. So right side is reset, left side is IP reporting, and that does coincide with the faceplate here. So swap out the faceplate. I'm going to be down 2 fans. I'm going to see if I can figure that out. I don't plan on leaving this on air for long. And it is a cool day here in Florida, but just be aware that if you do have a AM Logic control board on your S19K Pro and you get the fans that come with your S19K Pro, if they have the the older style, in my opinion, 4-pin, you might be SOL, or you might have to adapt it somehow, which I'm sure there is some on Amazon. So let me get this installed right now and swap out that faceplate. All right, and just like that, we have the new control board in there. We're just going to leave the front fans unplugged for right now because I don't have an adapter to you know, switch that over to connect to these 4-pin PWM instead of these 4-pin DC control cables or cables in general. So I'm just going to leave that unplugged. Connected up the ribbon cables per hash board and the 6-pin plus this cable coming from the power supply. And if somebody knows what this cable is or what it's doing, I'm pretty sure it's talking to the power supply about something, but what, I don't know exactly. And you know, the control boards are very similar, right? They're the same size. There's some subtle differences that I'll make a dedicated video on. But swapping out the control board is very easy on these things. I would attack it from the front instead of the back, especially if you have these bus bars instead of 6-pin connectors. Just save yourself the issue or the time and the effort. But very easy. And now I have a backup control board that I can use in a future video. So that's pretty much going to do it for today's video. Now I'm going to get this thing plugged in and log into the interface, but I'm going to save that information or that video for another day. I'm sorry, you're just going to have to bear with me as I try to make as much content showing people how to do various things on these particular miners, just trying to spread that education. And do me a favor, help share these videos out to your colleagues, friends, family members, partners, whoever it might be. Check out the dedicated video comparing or looking at these two a little bit closer to see what the subtle difference is. And do me a favor on the way out, hit the like button, make sure to get subscribed, hit the notification button to stay up to date, as well as check out additional links in the description to help support the channel on what we do here. And I will catch you in the next one. Have a great day, and check out Alter Tech, Unmineable, and latest-miner.web.app. Take care.